Depression is difficult. Those who deal with depression and demons and things, we know that it's ultimately like an illusion, a fabrication of the mind. Eckhart Tolle speaks a lot of this. Like you get identified with the narrative in the mind, or it's the coming and the going of the ego. When I'm very like expressive and like it seems like I'm being cringe, this is really just me being so authentic, as the ego is not really my concern, or it's not really there, or I'm not really feeling the ego. But then sometimes the ego emerges and I cringe at my own stuff, but the cringe is just a fabrication of the mind. So what I'm saying is just like, it's difficult, man, because I'm, especially with awakening, like awakening is very difficult. Like you don't understand, like I was just young, like getting into it, looking at Leo Guru and Conor Murphy, and I was like, yeah, let's go. Oh, fucking hell, I took a lot of psychedelics and it was all good, but it's just like these days I find myself in like a constant ebb and flow of positive to negative and confusion, because you understand everything's just like a constructed in the mind. It's all just a mind game. The ego, like your identity keeps shifting into like this is the small self, and like you can it's really crazy the metaphysical changes that you can make to the fundamental reality, and the qualia shifts and things like that. Andy Anderson says feel it to heal it, so maybe that's a tip. So it's just like feel the body basically, because the emotions reside in the body for the most part, and then just an observation. But I saw a lot of it is caused, yeah. One tip is just like, even if I'm like really low and I'm having a really not good time, the last thing to do is distract yourself with your phone, because then you can't work through it. The best thing to do probably is just journal. And it's difficult. There are constant ebb and flows, and it's like when I'm in the negative depressive state, I reflect on that. I reflect on the negative state when I'm like in the awakened state, or the positive state. I look from the positive state at me being depressed, and I'm like, how can I be so small-minded? But then like, because you're so caught up in the ego when you're depressed, you know you can dissolve it through meditation and breath work, but it just like, it stings the ego to do that. It's really weird. Alan Watts says there are people who love to torment themselves. People find that sitting on the tip of the spike is the realest place in the world. Because when you're there, you know that you're there. There's no doubt about it. And I was saying that in the Discord, Key Park's Discord, the New Man Club. And Dylan, a good friend who I'd done a podcast with, psilocybin advice, a friend, of course, that asked about my 70+ mushroom trips. That's what the video is called. And he said, same with the ice bath. Like, when you're in the ice bath, you know you're in the fucking ice bath. So that's the realest place in the world. And then the reason why that's comforting, right? The reason why depression can be comforting is because you tell yourself you know where you are. So you're on the tip of the spike, and you know you're on the tip of the spike. But then when you get more into awakening and things, it's like the ego is discontent with the truth when you're not on the tip of the spike. Because the truth is not on the tip of the spike, because the tip of the spike is a narrative or a story for the most part. So when you're like in an awakened, like expansive state of consciousness, you don't really know where you are, because maybe you're in non-duality, and the ego doesn't like non-duality. So when you're depressed, at least you know what's going on, supposedly. So maybe that's perhaps why it's addictive. So like I say, I want to focus a lot more on how do we just like stop this cycle. For me, it's unprecedented. Now I feel pretty good. I hope I can maintain this. But it's like the past 2 days, I've had such a clear, good day where I was on the ball. I was on the personal development. I was feeling really good. And then out of nowhere, again, the ebb and flow shifts, and I'm in the polar opposite. So zooming out and knowing this is a pattern can help. And Terence McKenna says, if you're feeling down and you're in a rut, reflect on the last time that you wasn't in a rut and do what he would do. Time to eat my plant-based sausages, because yeah, I know it's not good. But yeah, that's it. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just don't take it so seriously. We're all in this together. I love you.